Hey, John.
Hey, Eric. Welcome home.
Thank you. Same to you.
Oh, I guess I did go a little somewhere. I didn't have like as big a trip, but yeah. Yeah, it was a big weekend.
Yeah, no,
Big weekend.
Showing my age, our 30th anniversary, my wife wanted to go see a baseball game at Wrigley Field. So that's on her bucket list.
That seems totally fun and totally awesome.
Yeah. And so I'm like, well, while we're out there, because for years I had this dream to go see all the Major League Baseball parks. I was much bigger into baseball when I was younger. Cleveland, not too far from Chicago. So we flew into Chicago. Yeah, it was a twofer. So we flew into Cleveland and
went Cleveland or Chicago?
We flew into Cleveland first.
You flew to Cleveland?
We flew to Cleveland first.
Okay.
And stayed downtown. Cleveland is very dead. Not a lot of stuff going on. I mean, it was not busy for a big city, or what I thought might be a big city. We went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which was kind of fun. It took about, I think if someone was really big into reading every plaque and wanting to know about every little detail of a guitar, you might be there for a number of hours. We were there for an hour and a half, and we're like, yeah, we're good. So, I mean, it was cool. We got to see lots of, cool costumes, the Elton John's piano, a lot of Beatles guitars, Beatle memorabilia, Elvis stuff, Elvis's motorcycle, Billy Joel's motorcycle, stuff like that. So it was generally just kind of a fun museum of history, rock history. So that was kind of fun. Then we went to the Guardians. They're no longer the Indians. They are now the Guardians, the Cleveland Guardians, because a lot of teams have been migrating away from historical names. Sure.
I'm okay with that. Yeah. Guardians. I didn't know that though, but okay.
They're the Cleveland Guardians.
Follow baseball. I follow baseball religiously.
Clearly.
As religiously as any atheist.
And then and we toured around Cleveland a little bit, looking at, just general stuff. And we ended up at the West Side Farmers Market. We like farmers. It's like this old building. It was really cool. And we bought some foods there. But the most exciting piece of what happened in Cleveland was my rental car was an all-electric car.
Oh.
And so I had my first experience of driving an all-electric.
Okay.
Also, my first pang of range anxiety, because it was turned in. They said, well, you have to turn it in with at least 80% charge left. Similar to, you got to fill up your gas tank before you return your rental car. You got to come back.
And you're supposed to do that by charging somewhere.
Yeah. And I'm like, where am I supposed to, how do I got to charge? And I'm like, and then the lady politely says, as I'm checking out, she says, or you can pay $35 and bring it back with whatever. We don't, similar. You can buy like a fuel option. That's the electric. Yeah. I'm like, all right, for $35, so I don't have to care. I have no idea how much I don't know where to go.
Right.
I would waste a lot of time figuring it out.
It's going to cost, it would cost $3.12 to fill it, but you're like, I don't care. I like mental ease. Okay.
Yeah. So, so anyways, it was fun. So, what was it? It was a Kia EV6.
Okay.
So, kind of
I've seen them on the road.
Yeah, it's not it's kind of like the new Mustang E. It's not an SUV, but it's not a car. It's somewhere, and it's not a hatchback. It's some hybrid weird looking thing. Anyways, that was actually a lot of fun to drive. And the range was 180 miles, and we used up only 90 miles. So we only used up half of the charge.
Did you like it?
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the vehicle as just a vehicle. So I think
I've been looking at that Mach-E again.
Yeah. It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah. I really like. I don't need another car. Like when my car dies, I should just not get another car is the right answer to that question. but I'm not sure that
needs
is what...
Needs and wants.
I know, right? That's exactly correct.
Anyways, so then, we flew from Cleveland to Chicago. My brother lives in Chicago, and so we stayed actually at his house. Kind of near Lincoln Park, kind of on the north end of downtown. I have no idea about the
geography of Chicago.
Sure. Anyway, so, in Chicago, everything is train. So we took, the train, the elevated train out to, the Cubs game, walked around. She got her fill and a couple Cubs t-shirts. She's very excited.
That's awesome.
Got to see Wrigley Field. It was a great game.
And you had a hot dog.
I had a Chicago dog,
with
yes.
ketchup on it?
No. That's against the law. It's violating several rules right there. Just even suggesting.
Do you get kicked out? Do you get kicked out? Kicked out of the
out of the state.
Stadium?
No, not just the stadium. Out of the state. They escort you to Indiana right then and there if you ask for ketchup to put on a hot dog. So we did that. That was a lot of fun. It was just a great time. We went to the Lincoln Park Farmers Market. Apparently we like farmers markets.
Okay.
And the two other things we did of note is we went to the Roby House, which is a Frank Lloyd Wright house right on the campus of the University of Chicago. And so we got the history of the Roby House and
very cool.
All that. Really cool. I got some coasters from there too. I now have more coasters than I have cups in my house, but I like coasters. And then we went to the Chicago equivalent of OMSI, so the Museum of Science and Industry.
Okay.
And that was super cool because it was massively huge and, just all sorts of fun stuff. They have life-size, full-size trains and airplanes that you can walk through, and it was that they had a you've seen the what is it, mist tornadoes where they it's not dry ice, it's
smoke or steam or
steam, not steam, it's cold, but they had one of those tornadoes, but it went up 3 stories tall. It was massive.
Wow.
It was super cool. And they had a
vapor.
Some type of a vapor. I'm sure it was. Anyways, a lot of fun. So that was my weekend.
Oh, that sounds like a fantastic weekend.
And
all that in like 4 days.
5 days. Crammed it 4 days.
That's some packed days.
Yeah, we left Wednesday and got back Monday. So we just kind of crammed everything in. But it was great fun. We just spent a day and a half in Cleveland and 2.5 days or whatever the math works out there. Anyways, great fun.
I was trying to remember if we went through Cleveland. I don't think we did. I think the town that I was like, was that Cleveland? I think it was actually Des Moines. So wrong city, wrong state.
A little bit of ways further away. Yeah.
But it was kind of a cool but dead city, or quiet. At least when we went through it. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, and that was the thing. As we drove around, my wife was commenting. We're like, we couldn't quite figure out what the feel of it was, but it just, we kind of settled on. It just feels dated,
vacant. Dated.
Not vacant. All the places, like we went to a breakfast place, and it felt like we were in the 70s or 80s. Everything just felt
a couple years old.
Yeah, a little bit older than you would expect it to be. And I guess some of that is...
Remember the 90s?
I guess some of that you can expect just because it's on the East Coast and it has actual history. We're out on the West Coast. We only have 100 plus years of history, and they have 200-300. It was fun, all around fun.
That's awesome. That's fun.
Yeah, how about you?
Well, we our trip this weekend was to go drop my oldest boy off of college.
Nice.
So, mission accomplished. In that, the one sort of panic thing we did was that, literally while we were at breakfast, he's like, and that my phone isn't working. And I'm like, you're what? He was, of course, he's like, I've told you this. And I'm like, well, I clearly haven't listened. Because I've had the boys on Google Fi for a couple of years, and he's like, no, when I reboot, it joins, and then it will just go to says Edge, and won't activate data.
Oh,
I'm like, well, that's really weird. And so we did it. We rebooted a couple times, kind of worked. Tried to do, and I was like, all right, fine. We're here. Like, we're gonna go move you into the dorm, and then we'll go and. We just went down to the AT&T store and put him on our plan there, which is, significantly more expensive than Google Fi, but works, which is a nice attribute for a cell phone, especially when you're planning to leave and be like, hey, maybe this should work. I mean, there's Wi-Fi all over there, blah blah blah, but whatever. Anyway. So that was the one thing. And, his roommate seems nice. Have to see. I don't know. Haven't really got a report for how well they're getting along or anything like that, but looking forward to that. First day of classes was today.
Oh, today. So you had a couple days to just kind of get adjusted to...
It was, I don't know if they'd call it freshman orientation. They called it something. They called it SOAR. Gotcha. SOAR, which meant something. It was a acronymified. I don't remember. Success, opportunities... something resiliency. I don't know. Anyway.
Okay.
They had a couple of days of activities.
I was thinking it would be SOAR and not SORE. I don't know the SORE.
No, it is. It is SOAR because their mascot's an owl, and so they've got lots of nest flying wings.
I got you. They got a theme going on.
Yeah. So the freshman orientation was new wings. This was SOAR, and yes, it's just that I don't remember what the A stood for.
Okay.
But yes, SOAR,
an S and an O and an
not
R
SORE, not SORE. So anyway, those are homonyms. So but then so my wife and I drove back, and we rented a nice Airbnb. It was awesome. Mm-hmm. Super clean, super tidy, kind of small, but a lot of houses there. Every house that I've stayed in there now, which I guess has been 3, is tiny,
Okay.
Maybe 900,000 square feet, really small, because they're all built in the
900,000 square feet.
900 to 1,000 square feet for a 3-bedroom.
The audio skipped on me. Sorry.
They're all built sort of early 20th century, World War II time frame, seemingly. Mm-hmm. And anyway, whatever. It was all good. But so on our drive home, it was eternal. Because we left at maybe it was a Ducks game.
Oh no.
In Eugene. Yeah. And evidently we hit Eugene just about the time that everybody from it was at Autzen Stadium is the Eugene Stadium. Mm-hmm. Evidently just about the time that everyone there had just enough time to get to the freeway. I think an hour earlier we would have been probably just zipped right through, but we timed it exactly wrong. So,
ouch.
Yeah. So we basically crawled from Eugene to Portland. But
bummer that
my wife's car, which when we drove to Seattle, you and I drove to Seattle. Yeah. The lovely thing is that what is it called? Adaptive cruise control.
Right.
I did not touch the gas pedal or the brake pedal from whenever we got onto I-5, which was south of Eugene, until Woodburn or something like that. I mean, it was and all the way down to stopped at times. Couple of times I had my foot on the pedal, please don't ram the car in front of me. Yeah. But no, it stopped every time exactly right, and it just so I had the cruise control set at 70, and sometimes we were going 0, which was that was definitely whatever car I wind up hypothetically buying.
You've already made the mental leap.
I want that feature.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll see. Anyway, cool. But it was good. So we made it home, and it's nice. all is well. And yep, back in kind of the grind for school up here, with,
Yeah.
It's not summer anymore.
No, it rained pretty good today earlier.
Yeah. So yeah, it is what it is. Well, all right, let's get into topics. What'd you bring me tonight?
So the one I saw was titled Stealing More Than Towels, the new info stealer campaign hitting hotels and travel agencies. So this one was interesting in that it was a phishing campaign that involved lots of back and forth between the attacker and the hotel. And so basically this is how it functioned. The hacker goes and makes an online booking and, opts for the free cancellation version, right? Gets their confirmation email. They respond to the confirmation email saying, I have a question about my reservation. Something along the lines of, hey, my grandparents are old. They want to print their photos during the stay. Do you have a printer? My son has allergies. Do you have whatever? So gives them kind of an emotional hook at that point to the reply. And so, can you do something for me?
But the intent is to get.
I will get to the intent.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So then,
sorry.
Right. So then the response goes either back to the hotel or whatever, and along with that is an attachment, and that it's a zip file, an attachment of some sort, hosted on some file sharing service, Dropbox, Google, everything that looks normal, but the zip file is password protected, so
it can't be scanned. It
can't be scanned, really, right?
Okay.
And so they asked, hey, can you open this up and just check this document, make sure this can be printed, or whatever the hook was, right? They have a bunch of variety of hooks, and the support representatives, like, oh sure, I will happily print this out for your grandparents, and when they arrive, I will have it ready for them at the front desk, kind of thing, right? And so of course they open it with the password, which sounds a little bit more legit. Hey, they sent me, we're protecting this. We don't want it to go to anybody. So just please, can you do this and then delete it? Anyways, the file gets opened, decryption happens, an executable launches, and the trap is now triggered. So they load the PDF, launches the malicious code, and then now the attacker gets whatever sensitive information they can from the device or the system there. So it was interesting in that this was not just a spray campaign. This was a very targeted that required a lot of some multiple back and forth, between the target and the attacker. And this article kind of goes through the whole bits and pieces of what happens, how it happens, that emotional manipulation. It's still the weakest link in any attack is the human,
right?
Still, right? And then, it's the info stealer gets attached. It's an advanced one, sophisticated enough to avoid sandboxes and other things. It does say that to detect it, you have to have either static signatures or YAR rules for detection. So it's a new kind of 0-day type thing.
It's kind of
there you go. And then it self-destructs when it's done its thing.
Yeah, kind of an industry specific phishing.
Yeah. Instead
of like spear phishing, trying to get Eric to click on something, it's kind of a little more generic, but
they
kind of
sprayed all the hotels in
tactic.
But it's not just a spray because they have to make a booking.
Yeah.
To get they have ponied up some kind of credit card.
How does that work?
Way,
right. Using a stolen credit card,
possibly,
or not requiring some place that doesn't require identification.
Well, if it's only free cancellation, usually they just store it. You have to book with it, but they don't actually charge the card until you show up at the hotel.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways. So that was kind of the one I saw today, was an interesting approach to, hey, I'm going to take the time as an attacker to actually book a reservation. I'm sure there's automation somewhere to book the reservation. But to go back and forth, more than just simply send an email, wait for someone to click the link, and then get your data.
Right. Okay. So, makes sense. Okay. Nice. So the one I chose tonight was, when was this? This was the 26th. So I guess that was yesterday, about at least as we're recording this, it's a blog from Microsoft on some of the new, security features in Windows 11. So, this is important because, there's lots of ongoing work, continuous work on, improving the usability, improving, adoption, improving, decreasing attack surface, et cetera, et cetera. All good stuff. But so there's a couple interesting things in here. So the whole point of this particular vlog is, I thought it said there were 11 features, but maybe I just was seeing Windows 11 because I didn't pull out 11 features. The ones I did pull out are, they're doubling down on passkeys. So I need to kind of maybe step up and actually adapt a passkey. I have not done that even on any platform yet, but I think they're also available on iOS or on Apple, right?
Yep.
Haven't done it yet, but so this is Windows 11 will make it much harder for hackers who exploit stolen passwords by empowering users to replace passwords with pass keys. Cross-platform, part of the FIDO Alliance, and they're on Windows 11 is integrating it into Windows Hello or Windows Hello for Business.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's awesome. Looking forward to our passwordless future. So that's it's coming, I think. I hope. So then the next kind of chunks of stuff that I brought out were all about more on the enterprisey side. So management and configuration. So along with the passkey, it's using Windows Hello for Business passwordless. So I don't know why they didn't actually say passkeys in here, but so the quote here is IT can now set a policy for Microsoft Entra ID, which is I think what they're calling Azure AD. Microsoft Entra ID joined machine, so users no longer even see the option to enter a password when accessing company resources. Once the policy is set, it will remove passwords from the Windows user experience, both for device unlock as well as in-session authentication scenarios. So, okay, I assume there's still some sort of integration with a second factor at some point, but go click your Duo or something along those lines, but I'm not sure. It doesn't actually say in this. With this change, users can now navigate through their core authentication scenarios using strong, phish-resistant credentials like Windows Hello for Business or FIDO2 security keys.
Nice.
So that's awesome. The second thing in the kind of IT administration side is what they're calling config refresh. Maintain IT policy control with config refresh. It sounds like this is what's the name of that company? Big Fix. Where you could basically, sorry, I don't know if that's exactly like this, but that's what it sounds like to me, where what they used to do or what they do is, I think IBM bought them like a long time ago, but, you could say, hey, I want this configuration set, and then they would just kind of check that configuration periodically, like polling, and if ever it changes, they go set it back. So it wasn't proactive on not allowing a change, but it was, sort of forcing it back into compliance periodically. This says config refresh is designed to revert policies to a secured state if they've been tampered with by potentially unwanted applications or user tampering with the registry. Config refresh allows Windows 11 devices to be reset every 90 minutes by default or up to 30 minutes if desired. The interesting thing about this one, though, to me, was The policy covers hundreds of settings that were traditionally set with group policy, but it does so through MDM. So the mobile device management APIs are now what's being used for configuration through, it says through MDM like Microsoft Intune. So I guess that means that you could use any MDM provider to set just a whole bunch more policy settings. So that's interesting.
Okay.
And potentially useful. The third thing in the IT thing is better what they're now calling custom app control. So I guess this is what used to be Windows Defender application control, or now they're calling it app control for business. Yeah, well, I mean, app control for business. But so this is, this is the ability to set a policy that says, hey, only apps that meet these criteria can run. So essentially, allow listing, which is it's really if you have a scenario that does not need installation or running of arbitrary software, allow listing is very secure generally. Because nothing, only allow stuff that is expected to be there, and anything else is disallowed, whether it's malicious or not. It doesn't even try to figure out whether it's malicious. And so, think of kiosks, think of ATMs. There's lots of situations where, no, this is essentially a purpose-built appliance.
Right.
That application control. It makes a lot of sense in a lot of business scenarios, at least. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then the final thing in this were some additional firewall features. So the ability to tag firewall rules with app IDs, so that you can say that this app can do this. It used to be that you had to put an absolute file path in. But now you can actually say, identify the application by something other than an absolute file path, which is good. The second one is, I couldn't quite parse what this is. It says, when you're on your on-premise domain subnets, basically determine when that's the case and apply different settings. So, okay, that's what I'm trying to remember what that was going, like location-aware policies sort of thing, I guess.
Yeah. Are you at the coffee shop or are you in the office?
Yeah.
Are you at home?
I mean,
on the VPN, I don't know.
It says on-premise domain subnets, so I'm guessing that VPN does not apply for that, but not enough info in this. So, and then the final thing there is better logging. So, they might have, I don't know if this is related to anything else, but it's okay. Anyway, good stuff. Good features coming. So then the final stat that I kind of pulled out of this, which I thought was interesting. Well, maybe a couple interesting points. So, they have a Morse team, or the Microsoft Offensive Research and Security Engineering.
Well named.
And I hope that they have a Morse code of behavior, but the factoid out of this was that in the last year, quote, the team has dedicated 1.9 million virtual machine hours and more than 84,000 Azure CPU cores dedicated to proactively fuzzing code. So,
wow,
that's a lot of infrastructure.
Yeah.
Do you think that? Do you think they cross bill that?
I wouldn't know.
I don't know. Anyway, okay. I'm glad. Especially if you've got a bunch of infrastructure, I would have to imagine as an infrastructure provider, I would absolutely try to think of things that, hey, what can we do that we can set up jobs to run on whatever the Azure equivalent is of Spot instances that, you can compile, you can run, and if it gets killed, who cares? You'll just run it again somewhere else. Like, fantastic,
Right.
Do it. That's and I don't know that that's what they're doing, or if they've got them quote unquote dedicated, since they used the word dedicated there. But the whole SETI at home on steroids,
yeah,
is good stuff. All right. Well, hey, how about something fun?
All right. So my something fun was a follow-up from something fun you did in October of 2020.
Oh, that was me.
Episode 150, Stepped On by Dinosaurs. You talked about OSIRIS-REX. And there we watched the video of it landing on the asteroid, right? It's this, our little spacecraft landed on an asteroid, gathered some rocks, and then turned around and came back. So it just landed September 24th, so this is the 27th, landed out in the middle of the Utah desert, and the scientists went and retrieved it. So it is now, 3 years later, almost to the day, back on Earth, and they have this asteroid, and they have a special built containment field so that when they open it up, they will, won't be contaminated by anything on Earth, and Earth won't be contaminated by anything that might possibly be from that asteroid, right?
Okay.
So this is all super cool. They've opened it. You can watch YouTube videos on the return and everything, but they are not going to reveal what they actually discover after they've removed the lid, but they're not going to reveal what they've discovered in anything until October 11th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So mark your calendar, October 11th, go watch nasa.gov live.
Why? Why October 11th?
I don't know. But they're going to complete the disassembly process, and they're going to reveal the sample to the world in a live broadcast. I'm sure because they probably need somebody there, human, or they need to coordinate for certain dignitaries to be present. I would be my guess as to why they're not just popping it open saying, let's go nuts. So anyways, that's my something fun. The OSIRIS-REX, the grab rocks off a asteroid, fly home.
And return them to Earth.
And
that is so amazingly awesome.
Let's take a look. Yeah, it's amazing. So yeah, go back and rewatch the YouTube videos of actually landing on the asteroid and then turning around and coming back. And that was episode 150. So yeah, almost exactly half our time we've spent together. We're on episode 303. So
wow.
3 years ago, we talked about this one. There you go.
Okay.
So that's my something fun.
All right. Fantastic. That is truly something fun. Okay. I have 1.5, maybe something fun. So the first of which is, I saw this on the BBC, and it had to do with bees. So I really should get out and walk past my beehives or my colonies and see if they're all doing good still. So the thing about this was, people are trying to figure out how to artificially pollinate various crops. So I remember watching like a documentary or something about that, I think it's cocoa pods on Madagascar are all hand pollinated, but which is like crazy amount of work.
Yeah.
But this is a Israeli startup that has built pollination technology for blueberries and avocados, and so that's interesting. The blueberry one looks like the sort of thing that you basically drive between rows of blueberries, and it has sort of fingers on the outside that vibrate the blueberry plants to. And they claim at the same rate that honeybee wings do, because that's kind of what releases the pollen, evidently, from blueberries. But I don't know. So, okay. At the end of the day, maybe we should take care of our planet, and we should take care of our pollinators, and because there's I don't think I pulled out the number, but it's something like 75% of crops in the United States, at least, are pollinated by insects, not necessarily honeybees. There's some that are, many that are natively pollinated, but bees, as we've talked about on this podcast, they do a lot of pollination. And so there's also a big chunk on this kind of explaining about the almond almond business in California, which is gigantic, and huge numbers of bees from all across the United States get trucked into Northern California in early spring to pollinate almonds. It's a good deal for the beekeepers, assuming their colonies survive, because they get paid, they get early start on the summer. The bees have a chance to really kind of boost numbers up, and then at least the people up here in Oregon, they go down to the California almond harvest, pollinate, get paid, have the bees multiply, and then they bring all the bees back up here, do the splits, sell them to yahoos like me in April or so, and they've already been going since January, and then take some number of those other colonies and then pollinate crops around here. There's blueberry fields near me that there's always bee colonies set out next to it in the spring and summer, and that's great. It's awesome. But anyway, this is mostly about the product is called the Row Bee.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Yeah.
How do you not choose that?
Right. So anyway, there we go. That was kind of the first thing. That was the thing that I saw that I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Okay.
And then I figured I'd throw in kind of a bonus, something fun, which is the book series that I'm reading at the moment, which my son suggested to me. It's called the first book at least is called We Are Legion. And the subtitle is We Are Bob. And the premise is, basically a geek. So, you or me. Kind of a loner, but has a business, and basically pays for when he dies to have his brain frozen so he can be woken up in the future if and when medical advances proceed. And he does. But he winds up being like effectively the only one woken up, and there's a whole bunch of start to it. But so basically they call them replicants, but they're all copies of himself.
Oh,
and
yikes.
it's pretty awesome. Like it's well done. I think
okay.
There's some hand wavy science, but it's this is very it's been very enjoyable. I just finished book 2. I'm in book 3. And I think there's 4, at least so far. I don't know if 4 is the end or not, but really kind of enjoying it.
I think I want to read it just from the second part. It's the Bobbyverse, book 1, Bobbyverse, book 2. I mean, how do you not want to get involved in something called the Bobbyverse?
I will do minor spoilers, which is that there is eventually a Bobnet, and when the Bobs all get together, they have Bob Moots. So like it's good. I'm really enjoying it at the moment.
So is it kind of it's funny? I mean, humor is intentional or just because of the signature?
It's my kind of humor. Like, so
yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
But
I will have to add it.
It's enjoyable.
I actually ended up reading, I thought I had read this, but I apparently hadn't. Warbreaker, Brandon Sanderson's Warbreaker, on the plane and, traveling.
That's the color one, right?
Yeah.
I have not finished that series.
Yeah. As far as I know, it's only one book.
Is it only one? Oh, I haven't finished that book then.
And the only reason I looked at it is I got my, box, my Year of Sanderson box, and it was the Warbreaker one. I'm like, do I remember this book? And I was trying to remember the book. And I went and just, of course, got it on Kindle, and I'm like, I have not read this. So I enjoyed that book.
Oh, very good.
While on my vacation. So
very good.
I will have to throw We Are Bob onto my list now.
It's good. I've been listening to it.
Nice.
So anyway, it's good. Is good. All right. Well, enjoy.
Yeah. Thanks, John. We will see you.
Yep. Sounds good.
Another time.
Have a great night, Eric. I'll talk to you later.
Later. Bye.
Bye.